You are listening to WMHW HD1 and HD2 Mount Pleasant, Mountain 91.5, a service of Central Michigan University's School of Broadcast and Cinematic Arts. Hello, folks, and welcome to Episode 9 of Card Guys. I'm Anthony Schulte, joined today by Ryan Donnelly and Doug Mobley. At 12:05, we got NBA early award predictions based on the first week of hoops. 12:20, stay tuned for some World Series discussion. And 12:30, we will go over our weekly NFL picks. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Fantastic.
I hope your Wednesday's going well. We got a lot to talk about. I'm doing great. Let's get things started, Anthony.
To get us started, the Pistons, my friends, are legit. After this weekend and this first week of NBA basketball, watching this Pistons team, it was a tough loss to the Miami Heat. A very tough loss to Miami Heat. 1 point. Cade Cunningham had an amazing game. Then we go into Charlotte on Friday, and we take care of business. We won every single quarter at the end of the quarter. Cade Cunningham had an off night, but you saw others step up. Alec Burks, 24 points. Jaden Ivey had a bounce-back game. Isaiah Stewart was so emotional in that game, getting into it. He had that altercation with P.J. Washington and Brandon Miller. And then Jalen Duren, an absolute stud. He had a great stat line that night. And then the next night, on a back-to-back, coming home for the home opener, the Pistons take care of business against the Bulls. Great performance from Cade Cunningham. Jalen Duren having another amazing performance. You're seeing this team play an exciting brand of basketball. Lobs, dunks, fast breaks, defensive stops. The one thing Monty Williams said at the beginning of the year was defense, defense, defense. And you're seeing leaps and bounds improvement over last year. The Detroit Pistons are a legit team. For the first time in 4 years, since the Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond era, the Detroit Pistons are a legit team. I'm saying that right now. 2-1, good start to the season. Who knows what the rest of the season has in store? But if the last weekend was any indication whatsoever of what the future of this team and this season is going to be, we got something special. Play-in, perhaps. Maybe we win a play-in game or two and we make it into the playoffs. I'm not saying Cinderella run like the Heat, but I'm saying this team's going to be winning ball games. It's going to be an exciting brand of basketball. Our colleague, a friend of the show, Derek Steele, said he's finally getting into basketball. He's starting to love basketball more. He put on the Pistons Saturday night over the Red Wings towards the end because the game was so exciting. Those are the words of Derek Steele. The Pistons are winning back their fans in the Detroit fan base. LCA was rocking. That place was packed on Saturday. The fans were into it third quarter. The refs were a little iffy, and the fans let them have it. This weekend was an indication of the Troy Weaver plan. It's all coming together. You're seeing these players develop. Jalen Duren's only 19 years old, having stat lines of 23 and 15, 17 and 15, 15, 17, shooting over 80% on the season. Jalen Duren is a machine down low. Isaiah Stewart complements him so well. Cade Cunningham plays with these players so well after being off for almost a year, not playing with these guys. Jaden Ivey's, I'm seeing in these last couple games, he is embracing this role more. So that's my take. The Pistons are a legit team. And speaking of the NBA season, we have some early, based on the first week of games, some early NBA predictions. Ryan, this was your idea for the show, an amazing idea at that.
This was my idea. We're going to do some way too early NBA awards. So, six-man, most improved, rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, and MVP. We're going to go through all of those real quick. We're going to start with Anthony. If I'm going to give you guys a minute, but we're going to start with six-man of the year so far. So, Anthony and Doug, who so far this year has impressed both of you on the bench so far?
Off the bench, I mean, I want to say Jaden Ivey, but I'm not going to say Jaden Ivey. Off the bench, I think it's he started the first two games of the season, but Chris Paul. Chris Paul coming off the bench, I think he's a heavy six-man of the year candidate. He's coming off the bench, and he's still running the show with Draymond Green back. We saw a little sample size of it. I think he had like 8.6 assists in 27 minutes last night. But he controls the game. He's kind of like Cade Cunningham, just a little bit shorter. And that's kind of how I see Chris Paul and Cade Cunningham's game. I think Chris Paul is a good candidate for that throughout the season. That's who my pick would be.
You know, I haven't exactly paid too much attention to this, but I don't even know. I don't know the rosters well enough to be like, there's one guy. I mean, Tyler Hero came second last year, but he's starting now, right?
Yeah, he's starting.
So
they can't put him on the bench anymore.
Yeah, no, they'd lose too many ball games if they put him on the bench. I'll just give it to my boy Ivy.
Ivy?
I think Ivy's gonna have a breakout year this year.
I do believe giving him that bench role will make him erupt this year, but I have two guys in mind. Jordan Clarkson of the Utah Jazz. He has been
pick.
Crazy good this year.
Good pick.
He hit a game-winning 3 against the Clippers a couple nights ago. That was a wild night. Hits a lucky 3 off having a really bad shooting day, and then he like locks up Kawhi Leonard, and then they win the game. Jordan Clarkson has been that guy. I think he's been the best bench player in the league. He has earned that spot since Jamal Crawford retired, and I believe that firmly. And I like the way that Clarkson has been playing this year. Although it's been slow, he's still cold. And another guy, Kelly Oubre.
Kelly Oubre, what a
has
pick.
Been great. He was signed late by the Sixers.
I'm surprised he fell that deep into free agency.
He
I
did.
really am.
I'm very surprised, and I'm glad that they picked him up. He fits that team so well. I think he's going to be a great replacement for Harden. I feel like if he doesn't play, but those are my two. If we have to pick a winner, I'm at this rate. I'm giving it to Oubre. But I like your prediction so far. We're going to move on. We're going to try and get through this quickly. Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you guys think have like shined defensively? I have a guy in mind. Let's start with Anthony again. Who do you think will win Defensive
Player of the Year? I mean, after last night, I really like Paul George as Defensive Player of the Year. He had 5 steals in the first quarter, and if he could keep that up, then I think he's a good shout for that. OG Anunoby, I think he's played really well on the defensive end. Underrated player on the defensive end, Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think Toronto's defense in a whole, I think their new head coach, they're playing a really good brand of defense. I mean, Isaiah Stewart, if we're thinking Pistons, Isaiah Stewart would be a good shout just because of his tenacity on defense and just his aggressiveness. He's not afraid to jump into you to try and block a shot or to try and stop a possession. We saw it when Zach LaVine, he was going down the court on Saturday on a fast break, and Stewart made the smart decision of fouling him and making him go to the line. He ended up missing a free throw. So, excuse me, I think I definitely think that those are some good shouts. And also Dyson Daniels. I really like Dyson Daniels and his play so far this season on the defensive end. But when it's way too early predictions, you could really pick anybody and it could pan out. So,
True.
I mean, OG, Scotty, Dyson Daniels, those guys.
Well, I'm looking at the stats right now. I'm not going to lie to you. There's only one dude that's on 2 of the 3 defensive leaderboards, and that is Jalen Duren. He is leading the league.
I'm
in
saving
rebounds
Jalen
right
Duren
now,
for another pick, by the way. That's why I didn't say Duren.
and he's tied for second in blocks. I think he is an option. I don't think he's going to be my pick. I think Jaren Jackson is going to win it back-to-back. Jaren Jackson is a defensive machine.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Jaren Jackson.
The
again.
Grizzlies are a surprising 0-3, too.
Yeah, that's wild. I think it's the jaw effect a little bit. I think that's playing on that team.
That $40 million mistake he made.
Yeah.
By the way, if nobody knows the $40 million mistake, he got suspended 25 games for playing with a inappropriate toy, we'll say, a toy gun, and on an IG Live, and he got suspended 25 games for, this was his second incident with a firearm, and his contract says he must make it on an all-NBA team this season, and he gets $40 million. The new NBA rules, however, state you need to play at least 60 games to earn that award. Being suspended 25 games makes him ineligible to win that award, meaning he does not get the $40 million incentive. Mm-hmm. So that's the $40 million mistake. Does that put a little fire in Ja? Possibly. No pun intended. Possibly. We'll see, but I think that could be the Ja effect.
All right. I got to pick Joel Embiid. He's leading the league in blocks. Although he doesn't have a lot of steals, he is a machine when it comes down low. I could also argue with Jalen Jackson and also Scotty Barnes too, but Joel Embiid. He is a machine. He might get traded in the next year. Those are the rumors that are going around, but I don't like spreading rumors. But
I could see him get traded.
I could see him getting traded. Absolutely.
Possibly to the New York Knicks.
Yes, the Knicks. I had the Knicks in mind. I just don't want him to go to like the Celtics or the Bucks. The Bucks with Lillard, Giannis, and Embiid
would be cap heck.
Yes.
It really would.
But
they wouldn't. That would be their only three players.
Joel Embiid won MVP last year. I think he is a defensive machine this year. And if the Sixers ever want to tank in the next year, if they don't make the playoffs or do well in the playoffs, then I can see him trade Embiid or like let him walk in free agency. I don't know what his contract's looking like, but that's my take for Defensive Player of the Year. And if I have to choose a winner, it most likely will be Joel Embiid. My three are Embiid, Jaren Jackson, and also Paul George. Paul George has been great on the perimeter. All right, gentlemen, this is going to be a fun one. Rookie of the Year. There are three guys I have in mind, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's start with Anthony.
Chet Holmgren. Sorry, Wemby. Wemby's a fun player. Chet Holmgren. 7 blocks in a game? Are you kidding me, Chet? I think Chet wins this solely off the fact that he is a second-year player that is eligible for Rookie of the Year. He will win it. He's going to be a double-double machine with 5 blocks, 4 blocks a game, something crazy like that. Heck, he might be able to win Defensive Player of the Year if he keeps that up. But Rookie of the Year, Chet Holmgren, I think Wemby will make it a case. I think Osser could make it a case. I think Amon could make it a case. Thompson twins. I think Scoot's out of it as of right now. Scoot is out of it.
Not good.
I already dropped him off my fantasy team.
Yeah. And I have Chet on my fantasy team, so Chet Holmgren, Rookie of the Year.
I think the Thompson twins are a good shout. Obviously Wemby, but I genuinely don't think Wemby's going to have a fantastic year this year. I think it's going to take him a lot of time to adjust.
I think we'll have fantastic plays. I don't think that's going to translate to wins or statistics. No. And we've seen, back in 2021, the NBA Rookie of the Year award is based off your wins as well. You need to be on a good team to win that award. That's why Cade Cunningham didn't win it to Scotty Barnes, because Scotty Barnes was on a better team, but overall was the worst player. But I do digress.
I think Grady Dick could come out of the bottom and just be like, where did this guy come from? He is, number 13 pick. Nobody really expected him to be that guy, but I think that could put a little fire in his soul and he could just go off this year. But,
I mean, when he gets minutes, I'm looking at his stats right now. First game of the year, 2 minutes, he missed a shot. Got an assist. Game 2 against the Bulls, 6 minutes, 0 of 2, both three-pointers. And then he gets 28 minutes against the Sixers, 16 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 4 of 6 from the from the arc. So you give him minutes, you give him time to heat up. He could be a problem in this league. He just needs those minutes to be opened up. I
mean, that's going to be my pick because I don't want to take your pick. I think Chet's going to do it.
Fair enough.
But I think Grady Dick is going to win. Is going to win Rookie of the Year.
I have 3 guys in mind. Chet is a good pick, but just knowing the NBA, one is obviously Wemby. Just knowing the NBA, Derek Lively from Dallas, averaging 7 rebounds a game. Although he's had a very slow start. He has a 62% field goal percentage. That's the highest out of these rookies. It's the highest for all the rookies. But to be fair, 3 games have been played. But Lively has been solid. 10 points, 7 rebounds, and he averages 1.5 blocks a game. And then also Asor Thompson, 5 blocks in his debut.
And he's contributing to winning.
Yes. He, I think, has changed the way the Pistons play defense. Him, and then the coaching change with Monty, who praises defense. But
I also think the improvements of Duren and Stewart as well could contribute to that as well. But Oster's been insane.
Asor has been crazy. He's a freak athlete. He is a incredible defender. What a pickup by the Pistons.
I think he's got some things to improve on for sure on the defensive end. I just see some rookie tendencies from him sometimes, like especially like back to the basket, just ISO plays. He sometimes gets beat, but that comes with the game. You know, you got to adjust. You're coming from overtime elite to the NBA, but I really like that pick. And honestly, if he keeps this up and he averages 10 rebounds a game, let's say, you know, 4 blocks a game and like a couple steals, you could see him in some talks for defensive player of the year, possibly.
Yeah,
honestly.
But he's not my pick. Just knowing the NBA, Wemby's a generational talent. Oh, he can block, he can shoot. Blah blah blah. They're gonna pick Wemby. I just know they will. But my pick in my heart is Asor Thompson. Moving on, we got 2 more, and then we're gonna move on to some MLB. Most improved. This should be a very easy one in my opinion, and probably for yours, Anthony. Who you got?
Most improved for me is Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, that was not who I was thinking.
I know who he's thinking of.
Tyrese Maxey is my most improved player. I think Duren makes a run for it. I was going to pick Duren for my most improved player because Duren right now is the most improved player, but I think those stats kind of calm down as the year goes on. I think Duren's just on fire right now. I'm the biggest Pistons fan in the world, but I can look at things objectively, and I think Duren will end out averaging around 13 points, 13, 14 rebounds, and that is a case for most improved. I think Cade Cunningham, he's going to make a case for most improved, especially if he makes an all-star team this year. He can make a case for most improved. But, I mean, Tyrese Maxey, what a player. You got to consider put into consideration his situation, too. You know, last year kind of limited by James Harden. He averaged, 18 or 19 points a game. And now he's coming out of the gates this year. He's averaging 30. And he's putting up James Harden numbers. He's taken that James Harden role. He really has. He's taken that James Harden role in a professional and mature manner. And I think when you're looking at it from the NBA's perspective, you're going to look at the team record. The Sixers are going to be a better team than the Pistons this year. If it was an even playing field and it was just who objectively is the most improved player, I would go with Duren or Cunningham. But looking at it from the NBA's lens and how they look at awards, I think Maxey could get it. And I also think that I think if Cam Thomas can average 20 a year, Cam Thomas could also be a shout. And Doug is rolling his eyes, and I think I know who Doug's pick was.
Yep. It was
you
Cam
can go
Thomas.
with. I picked Maxey.
It's got to be Cam Thomas for me. I mean, you look at his stats, and it's just he's almost doubled his minutes from last year. I mean, we've only played 3 games, and he's only started once, but he's averaging 30 minutes a game right now through 3 games, whereas last year he averaged 16. He's averaging 30 points in those 3 games, which is bonkers, especially for a 6th man. Honestly, he could win 6th man of the year too, especially if he stays off the bench or unless somebody else gets hurt. He's got an 85% 3-throw percentage. Great. He's averaging 32% from 3. He's averaging 33% from 3. And he's got 62% field goal percentage through 3 games right now. He is on fire. I think if he keeps this up, he easily in the top 2 or 3 for most improved.
Who do you think I was going to pick?
I think you were going to pick Jaden Ivey.
I thought you were going to pick Duren.
Because that's what you said at the beginning, like 2 weeks ago. You told me that.
I do remember telling you that. Yeah, I could see him in the running for 6th man, but not for most improved. I really do. I agree with Anthony. I agree with both of you, actually. You give both these guys minutes, and they're going to bloom. I was so high on Cam Thomas because, like, once you give him minutes, he's going to drop 40 for you. And same with Tyrese Maxey. Like, Harden's gone. Now it's your team. Now it's your guard position. And you know what he's averaging 30 a game. That's wild. He's putting up Harden numbers, not Harden putting Harden numbers.
Yeah.
The Cade has also improved a lot. The reason why I won't go with Cade is because he gets double teamed a lot, and with those double team comes turnovers. So I feel like if Cade becomes a number 2 option, I could put him in there for I could put him up there for most improved, but my pick has to go. I actually might go with Cam Thomas. Anthony?
Cade Cunningham has 14 turnovers so far through 3 games, which is eye-opening. Now, he's getting double-teamed a lot, but a lot of them are, when he tries to speed up the game, he loses the ball. So that's one thing I think that will hinder his most improved player and all-star candidacy is, can he clean up the turnovers? If he continues with these turnovers each night, I could see some people in the NBA turning an eye, being like, okay, turnovers are getting up there. It comes with being doubled, but some of them are just, bad reads. Some of them are just careless with the ball. There are a couple plays there in that Bulls game where I'm like, Cade, what are you doing? You threw it right to the defender. It didn't even look like he was trying to make the right pass. But nonetheless, I think your predictions are really good.
Okay, thank you. But we have one last award, and then we can move on to some World Series baseball. MVP. Let's just do this really quickly. Anthony.
Oh, MVP.
This is a tough one.
MVP is a very tough one because it could be Jokic. I mean, Luka. If we're looking at most valuable player, the Nuggets without Jokic are still a playoff team. Mm-hmm. The Mavericks without Luka are a
good.
bottom 5 team in the NBA. So I'm going to go with Luka Doncic because, that one-handed 3 to win the game, basically, off the square, off high glass, Luka threw it in like a football. It was great. That was fun to watch. I think Luka is the most valuable player to his team. Now, the NBA doesn't look at if you're valuable to your team now. They look, what are you averaging? Luka is averaging 41 a game with, 41, 11, and 9, basically.
That's ridiculous.
Goodness gracious, Luka Doncic. I think it's Luka. I was going to try and give it to somebody else, but I see Luka. He's leading in the category somebody else could. Embiid, Curry, Tatum, Jokic. Those are all players you got to look at for MVP. But Luka Doncic for me.
I agree with you, but I'm gonna pick somebody different just because I don't want to copy you.
Okay.
I'm picking my boy Shai.
Shai.
I'm picking my boy
Even
Shai.
after that 6-point performance.
I think, one game. Everybody has an off day.
Fair enough.
The first 2 games before that, he got 31 and 34. The first game of the season, 31, 5, and 10, with 1 steal and 2 blocks, only 1 turnover. Second game, 34, 11, and 4, with 5 steals and 1 block, 5 turnovers. A little worse, but still averaging just over 70 fantasy points.
He's doing well for you in fantasy.
Games. He's
and now I have to play him this week.
He's averaging 54 in fantasy right now.
Yeah.
Not my only guy averaging 50, though. I have 4 guys averaging 50. Just want to say. Jalen Duren, fantastic pickup in the draft from me.
You picked him up in free agency.
No, I did not. I picked him. I drafted Jalen.
You drafted him?
I was like,
I could have sworn he was in free agency.
No, I picked up Cam Thomas in free agency. Jalen Duren was sitting there at the bottom with all the other centers available, and I was like, that guy, I want him.
Yeah.
He's averaging me 50.
I'm going to base this off what Anthony said. If you have this, who's the most valuable? Luka is the most valuable player because without Luka and even without Kyrie, this team is terrible. Terrible. Who would be the best player? Tim Hardaway?
Kyrie.
Well, I said without Kyrie.
Oh.
Tim Hardaway, Dwight Powell.
No, Josh Green.
Josh Green.
Josh Green would be.
The Mavericks without Luka.
Oh, no, Grant Williams exists.
Oh, yeah, Grant Williams. But without Luka, this team is nothing.
It's buns.
It's nothing.
Terrible.
Without Luka and without Kyrie, this team is not good. But NBA bases off performance, and I might have to go with Jokic, but I could make a case again with Shai. because he has been lights out, crazy, like on a shooting spree. But I'm going to give it to Jokic. I think he got robbed last year,
He did.
especially because he won that chip. I just think he got robbed, and I think he'll come back this year and win it. And I do heavily believe that Jokic will win it, and I'm rooting for Jokic. I really love Jokic. Shout out my guy who who got drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. And that has been way too early. NBA award predictions. Okay.
We're going to move on to some MLB postseason now. The World Series, the Fall Classic. It's been an up and down series. Now, Doug, you're our MLB analyst here. We'll call you.
Yeah, call me Carlos Pena. Or
Call you
however.
Carlos Pena.
Or I'd take Verlander's brother. I forgot his first name. Justin's brother. He's
What is his?
now I need to know.
Yeah, now I need to know. What?
Verlander.
Chris? No.
Ben.
Ben.
Ben Verlander. Call me
Ben
Ben,
Ben.
Verlander because I never went pro.
Hey. So we have a World Series to discuss here. Diamondbacks, Rangers, Game 3 tonight. Series is tied 1-1. Doug, what do you notice? Because both games are kind of lopsided.
Yeah. Well, no. The first game was
First game was close,
First game,
but it felt
Adolis
lopsided.
walked it off in the 11th inning.
It felt lopsided at the end because of that walk-off
Well,
in Corey Seager.
It's Adolis and Corey Seager. That was their show. But game 2, 9-1, and that was at Texas, and the D-backs just walked in there, and just they got up in the first. They got up in the first couple innings and never looked back.
Pulled the Phillies. They learned from the best.
Yeah, and now they have 3 games at home.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all back to back. They're at their own recovery facilities. They're in their own houses.
They have a chance to win this thing at home.
They could win this home right now.
Kind of pull a Pistons. When the Pistons in 04 with this format.
This not only has this been the most exciting playoff ever that I've seen with my eyes, I think this might be the most exciting World Series I've seen in a few years. Because let's be honest, the last couple ones kind of sucked. I mean, when was the last exciting World Series for you guys?
Jeez. Last exciting World Series?
Yeah.
Like nail biters every game?
Like one that you were like, man, I really want either team to win just because it's
I think
fantastic
Astros
game.
before we realized they cheated.
Yeah,
that
so
first World
2017.
Series. Yeah,
27.
2017.
I might have to go. Ooh, that's really tough. 2015. What was that World Series? I don't know. Just I'm gonna say 2019 because that was before the Astros knew they cheated and the Nationals made it that far.
I mean, I think there's 2 picks for most exciting World Series that I've seen. 2016, Cubs won it 108 years.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
And 28.
Oh yeah, the Cubs.
And
that was a great World Series.
And the
I forget them.
one of the best World Series of my life. And the 2018 Red Sox won it. I think that was a
I
fantastic.
forgot about the Cubs.
I
and
got to change my pick to the Cubs.
I forgot.
But the D-backs take it home here. I think they've just proven that they're the better team and that their pitchers are better.
I think both teams are really young. I mean, the Rangers are kind of old, but both teams are young when it comes to postseason experience. And I really like the Rangers, and I think the Rangers are a good enough away team to steal one and be able to try and win some games at home. I think the game goes to 3-1 back in Texas. I think that's what we're going to be seeing, and I think the Diamondbacks win it in 7 on the road. They pull off a road victory, maybe a walk-off. It'll be close, but that's kind of what I'm thinking with this World Series.
This series has been so much fun. A Garcia walk-off homer, and then the D-backs absolutely manhandle them. What a fun way to kick off this World Series. But originally I was Rangers in 6, but now it might be D-backs in 7. I don't know. Pitching has been great for the D-backs, and Ketel Marte has been on fire. He's, didn't he?
18-game hitting streak in the postseason.
Isn't that a record?
Yeah.
He broke a record for most hits consecutively in the postseason. He is the best. Him and Garcia are the 2 best hitters in the postseason. Ketel Marte is going to get paid. Garcia is going to get paid. This World Series is going to be so much fun.
And Gabriel Moreno is going to get a fat extension. when his contract's up.
When a young team's on fire, there's not much you can do to stop them because they're young, they're loose. They could play these back-to-back games without a day off and be able to recover well. And I think some of the old legs on the Rangers, they'll get under them. But it's 12:30, which means
Picks.
our weekly tradition here on Card Guys, our NFL weekly picks. We're going to go through each game, who we picked, and a little debrief on each one. Let's start off Thursday Night Football. The Bills pull out a win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Buffalo, 24-18, gentlemen. I picked the Bills. I think we all picked the Bills.
I picked the Bills. Not really surprised with that game. Very poor game and very sloppy game, but Bills get it done.
The Cowboys and the Rams, and a scoregami this week, 43-20. The Cowboys beat the Rams. I picked the Cowboys over the Rams.
I picked my Cowboys. To
our
win.
resident Cowboys fans that we can boo.
I'm a Lions fan. I'm a Lions fan, but the Cowboys are like a step down.
They are a step down. You're right,
Still
because they're worse than us.
I'm a diehard Lions fan. They're my favorite franchise of all time.
Yeah, so therefore you can't like the Cowboys. It's not.
Pass
it's
interference.
It's not.
It's my opinion.
It's not.
It's my
legal.
opinion. La 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 la. Okay, go on.
All right, so the Cowboys win 43-20 against the Rams. Matthew Stafford getting injured in that game. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp having disappointing games as well. The Titans beat the Falcons in a thriller down the stretch. I picked the Falcons, but obviously Derrick Henry did me good in fantasy, so not mad at that. You don't win them all.
Just go ahead.
I picked the Falcons. I want to talk about this game.
I also picked the Falcons.
Will
Levis, 4 touchdowns in his debut. Him and that Hopkins connection was crazy. Two catches, two touchdowns, 63 yards. Oh my gosh!
I think the Titans found their quarterback.
They found him.
Yeah,
Malik
Stafford's
Willis
hurt. I'm gonna go pick up Will Levis right now.
Will Levis is great. Malik Willis is garbage, and Tannehill is 30,000 years old.
Our next game wasn't a close one. Dolphins-Patriots, 31-17. Just an all-around great performance from that Dolphins offense.
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Dolphins. That was a great game.
I picked the Dolphins. Shout out Frank the Tank fan, Isaac Haffenden.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. He likes Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank is he's a resident Dolphins fan, and luckily they got the win, and we didn't get to see an angry Frank reaction on Twitter.
That would have been funny, though.
It would have been funny. Vikings and Packers. The Vikings pull off a win, but not without losing. Their star quarterback, Kirk Cousins, the leader of this offense, the only thing the Vikings have to their name, goes down with a torn Achilles towards the end of the contest. It was already decided, and the Vikings lose their quarterback, but they win the game. Take your wins, take your losses. The Vikings, they're going to be struggling with their new backup.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings won, but Jordan Addison can't do everything now. Like, him and Hawk were the only reasons that they were actually playing well. That their season's done.
Go ahead.
I also picked the Vikings. Their season's over. I'm sorry. Like, you lost Jay Jettas, you lost Kirk, you still have Hutch. Or not Hutch. You still have Hawkinson. But who's their backup? Kellen Moore?
No, I think it's Jaron. Hold on.
Whatever.
I'm looking at the NFL app.
Their season's over. It's the Vikings had low expectations, and you lost arguably the best wide receiver in the league, and then
Jaron Hall.
Who the heck is that?
Jaron Hall.
Whoever Jaron Hall is, he's not going to do anything for the Vikings, and their season's over. They're going to get crushed.
I think Hawkinson and Addison are good enough talents to still be productive players, even with the new quarterback, especially because Hawkinson's a really big run-after-catch guy, big rack guy. He's big on them rack yards. Yeah. But, that's a tough loss for the Vikings. In division, as a Lions fan, I'm not complaining that we don't have to deal with Kirk Cousins, but it's always tough to see an injury like that.
Have fun in New York, buddy. The Jets.
Well, he was going to get traded to the Jets, but they already have somebody with a torn Achilles, and he's about 5 weeks recovered.
Yeah, that's insane,
8 weeks
by the
recovered.
way. How fast he's recovering.
He's recovering really well. Those crystals are really helping him there.
He'll be back by Christmas.
I picked the Vikings in that one. The next one, I picked the Colts, but the Colts get it handed to him. Derek Carr, what a performance. 38-27. The Saints take care of business on the road at Lucas Oil.
Yeah. I picked the Colts. They should have won that game, but they didn't. Oh, well.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Minshew Mania disappointed me, but Derek Carr put up a unbelievable, not like an unbelievable, they put up a stellar performance with a broken shoulder, and it stinks, man. Minshew Mania, what's happening?
Jets, Jets. My pick was a little scary towards the end of that game, but the Jets somehow sent it to overtime and win off of a field goal, 13-10, in a rainy MetLife Stadium. That was a miserable game to witness. That was just a bad game. Just a bad game. Tyrod Taylor got hurt. Who's the guy that came in?
I have no idea.
Oh, it's some nobody that's not going to play ever again in the NFL, I don't think. Because Daniel Jones is back, by the way.
Oh, that's good. They're still going to
lovely.
suck. Yeah, I picked the Jets. That was a bad game.
Yeah.
I have the Jets defense. I started them in fantasy. I shouldn't have, but just it was a very disappointing win. It was a really bad win for the Jets, and they really want Rodgers back. And he'll be back because somehow, some way, a magician said abracadabra to his knees, and now he's fine. But he needs some more time to recover. So go Jets.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, my pick for this week over the Steelers, and they take care of business, 20-10. Injuries again. Kenny Pickett suffered a rib injury for the Steelers. And they had to deal with Bears legend Mitch Trubisky during that one. The Steelers losing 20-10. I mean, the Jaguars, are they legit, fellas?
I think after the way that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been playing, coming in and shutting them down, I think the Jags are legit this year.
I do agree. Although, yeah, the perfect combination of Money Mitch and a Matt Canada run offense is not ideal for the Steelers. Once again, fire Matt Canada, Steelers fans. But just the Jags are legit. They got a good D. They got a good coach. They got a good culture. They got Trevor Lawrence is looking up. Yeah, I think the Jaguars are legit, and I'm going to be rooting for them.
The Eagles have a little scare in the first half against the Commanders, but really put together in the second half. Again, a close game against the Commanders. The Eagles winning 38-31. The Eagles look beatable. They do. They may be 7-1, but they look beatable.
The Eagles look beatable.
And that's good for the Lions in NFC.
A.J. Brown broke a record, I think.
Yeah, isn't it like the first player to have 7 straight games of 100 plus?
Yeah, 150 plus receiving yards. Insane. But I think this is more so not proof that the Eagles are beatable, but that the Commanders are a scary team.
They're not going to be after the deadline tomorrow.
No, but I think they have a good platform to build on from here. They draft well.
I have a good comparison. It's the 2018-19 Pistons.
Yeah.
They're the 2018-19 Pistons. You know what they need to do? As much as they don't want to do it, they need to blow it up. Mm-hmm. They need to trade away their star players. Brad Holmes, get on the phone. Sorry, I had a little tickle in my throat. The Commanders.
Just what?
Chase Young. Sorry. Ooh, that was another little tickle in my throat. The Commanders, they need to blow it up and just restart. Sam Howell's a good enough quarterback to be your franchise quarterback if you want to rebuild. Grow through him and develop him, and just restart. Just restart. Change your name back over the offseason like the rumor is, and just restart if you're the Commanders, because what a miserable franchise over the past decade. Your stadium's falling apart. Your team name has changed 3 times. You've been consistently mediocre or terrible. You just need to restart.
The Eagles look good. The Eagles, they do look beatable, which is good as a Lions fan, but hold on, I got to see. Straight Jonathan Allen to the Lions. Sorry, excuse me. I got another sneeze.
Yeah.
Tracy on the lines. Sorry.
There you go.
Sorry. Excuse
You're
me.
good.
I was
good.
very unprofessional, but I apologize.
That's all okay.
I think the Commanders should blow it up. I've heard rumors about Chase Young possibly going to the Lions, which he should, but which I probably didn't mention, which I never mentioned before that my sneezes, but just the Eagles look beatable, which looks great for the Lions. So do the Niners, which we'll get to in a little bit, but yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Commanders look like garbage. But they have Eric Bieniemy, which is a good sign. Go ahead, Anthony. Talk about
Ladies and gentlemen,
your amazingness.
the Anthony Schulte upset of the week, 3 weeks strong. The Carolina Panthers take care of business against the Houston Texans 15-13. First, we have the Broncos, first we have the it was the Jets beating the Eagles, and then we have the Broncos beating the Packers, and then we have the Panthers beating the Texans. If there's one thing I could do right in life, it is pick an upset in the NFL.
What a terrible game, though.
Oh, it was a garbage
Absolutely
game. All I care about is the
garbage can
result.
Shootout, but I picked the Texans. What a terrible game.
Guess who started Nico Collins at fantasy thinking he's going to put up a 40 bomb
Hey,
today?
what did I tell you, bro?
But he put up a whopping 7.
What did I tell you? I told you don't start Nico Collins. He wasn't going to be good.
Hey, Madison got me 4 yesterday, so I did worse than you.
I started everybody in fantasy because they're all playing bottom feeders, and they all put up a whopping, 70
Bro,
combined.
all of my tight ends put up over 15.
No.
Bro, Dalton
Rashid Shaheed.
Kincaid dropped 17.5. You dropped him earlier this season, by the way.
Rashid Shaheed had 24 off my bench.
Logan Thomas had 16.4.
Happy National Tight Ends Week a week later, but
Trey McBride had 25.
that's ridiculous.
Wow.
As a
But
tight
What a
end
week for tight ends.
Arizona.
I mean, TJ Hawkinson, 20 points.
Yeah, I
But
don't know, man.
it's surprising that the bottom feeders this week were winning, especially
Yeah.
the Panthers. And I thought, again, C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins connection, whatever, was going to be amazing this weekend, but I was wrong. I don't like Nico Collins. I just don't.
Just drop
and I'm a
him, man.
Michigan fan, and I just drives me nuts. I
Next game.
hate the Panthers. I've always hated them last year when they beat the Lions, and then just kids can't catch footballs, especially when you have sideline club access during the preseason against the Lions. If you know, you know.
Oh, yeah, if you know, you know. The Seahawks beat the Browns 24-20. We all kind of expected that.
Yeah.
Nothing special coming out of that game. But then we have this. Now, the Kansas City defense still got me a good amount of points on fantasy, but 24-9 to the Broncos. And the Broncos are 3-5.
The Chiefs are washed. I picked the Chiefs to win. That was a.
Oh, yeah, I think 97% of America.
We watched the
Chiefs.
last 2 quarters of that game. That was.
Yeah, we did.
That was bad.
While studying for journalism class. Wasn't that a fun time?
Yeah, we got so much stuff done.
We did.
That was a second. Purdy's going through something right now.
I think you're talking about the wrong
Talking
game.
about the wrong team.
Oh, my bad.
We're talking Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs and Broncos were on while we were studying, but I picked the Chiefs too. That was a rough game.
Broncos fans rejoice. Your 15-game losing streak against the Chiefs is over. You
Well, I think
finally beat the Chiefs.
The Broncos look legit.
They looked great.
Why?
Maybe I was wrong about Sean Payton, but I don't want to, say anything about it.
Russ was cooking.
Finally,
Jerry
Russ was
Jeudy
cooking.
did something.
Jerry Jeudy
Courtland
did
Sutton
something.
did something. The defense did something.
Russell Wilson did what Broncos fans wanted him to do last night, and he did it, and he finally did it. Is Sean Payton still a legit coach? Heck no. But the Chiefs are washed without Eric Bieniemy. They lost a top 3 offensive genius, and look what happens. And you don't even have Tyreek Hill anymore. And Taylor Swift was in the crowd, but just they lost.
Taylor Swift was there, and they still lost.
You lost. You lose
The
Bieniemy.
Taylor Swift winning streak is now snapped, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Bye, TS. But just you lose Bieniemy, you lose Tyreek Hill. They're washed. They're still going to win the division, but they're not going to make the Super Bowl. It's over.
Ravens, Cardinals. The Ravens pull out 31-24. A little bit of a scare towards the end. A couple onside kicks, one going the Cardinals' way. And the Ravens pull that one out. And then the Bengals.
Ladies and gentlemen, finally, a Ryan Donnelly upset of the week that went through the Bengals, taking care of business against the 49ers. I watched a little bit of this game with my grandpa on Red Zone, and the 2 plays I saw was a Brock Purdy pick and a Jamar Chase touchdown. Woo! We finally got an upset. 24% of America finally picked them. The Bengals are back, baby.
I picked the 49ers, and
So
I'm
did
in
I.
a
Purdy is terrible.
state of depression.
George Kittle had 1,500 yards after catch.
Oh, no, a
yesterday.
good day for Kittle. Tight ends. Let's give it up for tight ends. Tight ends, ladies and gentlemen. The new wide receiver.
Terrible game, though.
Terrible game.
Terrible game.
Chargers, Bears, Sunday Night Football. Another terrible one, 30-13.
Not surprised.
The Bears are back down to reality. And then tonight, on Monday Night Football, the Raiders come into the den to play the Lions. We already picked the Lions. We are rooting for the Lions. It's going to be a fun one tonight.
The Lions are hungry. They are, after that loss against the Ravens, they are so hungry, and they are going to whoop the Raiders. But and seeing the Eagles barely beating the Commanders and the Niners losing to the having three straight losses builds up my confidence for the Lions to win the NFC. This is the Lions' year. Seeing what happened to the top two teams in the NFC, and if the Lions,
everybody looks beatable.
But Amon-Ra's questionable, doing it to an illness. But they still got Laporta. You still got the Serpent of Death. You still got all these other guys that can step up. The Lions have so much depth, and if they beat the Raiders tonight, I can see them winning the NFC.
One more time.
The Raiders. Doug, can we get a Raiders out of you?
The Raiders.
Yeah.
They're going to lose.
Hopefully they do lose. Well,
Before
sadly,
we end it,
go ahead.
I got one question for all of you. The NBA released pictures of the in-season tournament
They did.
courts. What do we think?
I
Real
love the
quick.
Pistons one. I think a lot of them are very ugly, but the Pistons one's clean with the gray and the bad boys theme with those city editions. I think they look great for the Pistons at least. I mean, I like the creativity and the direction, but at least make the city edition uniforms better. I mean, that's a whole other discussion, but I think 2 city edition uniforms look good out of 30.
I'm glad that they finally are making courts for all NBA City Edition uniforms, but all the uniforms suck this year. But it's very creative.
I got nothing. I think they look sick.
Nice. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show, folks. Thank you for tuning in to episode 9. Already episode 9, almost on double
Episode
digits.
10
of
on
Card
Wednesday.
Guys on 91.5 The Mountain, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Join us Wednesday. We discuss a busy week in Detroit sports, make our NFL Week 9 picks, and a little bit of an NBA in-season tournament preview. For my guys, Ryan Donnelly and Doug Mobley, I'm Anthony Schulte. So long, everybody.
Love you, Mom and Dad. It was great seeing you this weekend.